Alright, so yesterday at the time I'm making this video, it's probably going to be up the day after, I made a video discussing Bungie's crackdown on limiting, and it wasn't exactly the best it could be. Granted, I do stand by some of the points I made, but there are some things that I did get factually wrong, like straight up dictionary definition of stupid, so I'm gonna correct those points in this video. So let's just go over some of the points raised in the comments of the last video. Quote, would have been better vid if you just said net limiter band is good instead of crying about the game being better off without skips and shit. Just get good, TBH. I could have said it in passing and people may have misunderstood, but I'm not against skips in any way. Creative use of level design and exploiting what the devs intentionally or unintentionally added is perfectly fine. I think that's badass as all hell. My favorite thing to do when I'm bored is just fuck around on Nessus and see where I can get out of bounds. It's genuinely cool. I never said skips were bad. Where skips aren't good is when limiting is required to use them or gain an advantage from them. A perfect example is the solo Queenswalk clip I showed. It was definitely not a long enough clip to properly convey the information, so context would have been lost quite a bit. But this should not and could not be possible without limiting. I'm not against skips, not in the slightest. I am against skips that require limiting to be remotely useful in any way. Take that for what you will. Quote, this comes off as speedrunners bad because I can't be one. I mean, kinda? I mean, my whole point was breaking into speedrunning in D2 literally means cheating. You need to learn how to limit, or you need to run with someone who does already. Speedrunning is by nature competitive, and to be competitive, you need to limit or be with someone who's limiting, also known as cheating. So if you were doing a non-limited run of Garden of Salvation with all the skips and the loadouts and whatever intact, you would be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes behind most decent runs on the leaderboards. But if you want to go out and say that I'm mad cause bad, I mean, yeah, I'm bad, but so is limiting. Like, it doesn't really give much of a skill gap. You're pressing a button and letting programming do it for you. Limiting doesn't affect you. If you aren't speedrunning, it's not a problem. This is the argument I see the most, and it's definitely the dumbest one, because it's actually just wrong. There are just straight forums on Bungie and Reddit and wherever the fuck complaining that people are limiting too much in LFG raids, and that's genuinely hard just to do an actual clear or have fun without some jackass just insta-killing the boss with infinite chaos reach. You can go into an LFG Goss, and 9 times out of 10, there's going to be someone limiting to make it easier for them or the whole team, regardless of someone saying the matter. The argument that limiting doesn't affect the game is just straight wrong and dismissive of the actual issue. When you can limit in one activity, it encourages people to do it in pretty much everything else they can. People are limiting in Iron Banner, comp, raids, trials even. They're gonna do it everywhere if it's accessible, because why the fuck not? Bungie has shown up until this point that they didn't care, or at least didn't have the means to enact consequences on the people actually doing it. And the problem with limiting also is it's so accessible that you can basically go onto any website, get a limiter, and just use it with a config someone gave you. It's not that hard. And the more people using it, the more people that are going to be like, man, I just don't like this boss. I'm just going to limit. It's a genuine issue. So if you're saying it doesn't affect anyone else and it's just people doing farms and speedruns, you are just wrong. Another argument I saw was Bungie should just make better content. Sure. And you should go outside. Why did bro put an RTA clip? You know, it's weird. People really don't want to get their clear farm counts banned, so it's kind of hard to get clips that aren't just straight cheating. So my bad. Probably shouldn't have used that clip, but come on, man. Like, Scuffed Duality solo flawless from like when it released is just not good B-roll. So my bad. All right, that's enough with the comments. One thing I did want to correct is how limiting actually, limits and how it works. I was kind of right with it lagging you in a way to get specific things to happen. but it's kind of contested on what limiting actually does in Destiny or how it functions. I don't limit, so I'm not at all an expert on what I've heard, but two things I have heard is the game is server-based, but client-sided, so interrupting the client's connection to server in a specific way can get some kooky crazy stuff. That sounds like the most likely thing. And number two is that just lag in general can make things funky because all of the data of Destiny 2 is server side. So lagging at all can potentially do some kooky stuff, and limiting just makes you lag more. So it could give you more advantages. I don't know which is true. Hell, it might not even be either of those. I don't know. I don't limit. If you limit, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just a dude who makes random YouTube videos responding to raid farmers because they got pissy in my comment section. Basically, though, that's all I wanted to talk about. I do still believe in most of the points I did state in the previous video, but just really wasn't 100% confident in the information I provided or the way I provided it. But overall, I think this saga is over. Net limiting bad, speedrunner bad, I'm bad. Subscribe, watch my other videos, goodbye.